Welcome to the ABCs of Preschool, the show that covers all things from parenting to childcare. And we're going to get real about how not just to survive, but thrive in the early years. I'm your host, Miss Amber. I'm a mom of 5 and early childhood expert with over 25 years in the industry. Whether you're a parent, an educator, or just curious about early childhood education, this podcast is for you. Each week, we're going to dive into what life looks like raising little ones, with special guests, industry experts, and personal stories that will leave you inspired and empowered. Get ready to explore, imagine, and discover the beautifully messy that comes with these magical years. Buckle up, because thriving during the early years is a wild and rewarding ride. Welcome to the ABCs of Preschool. I'm Miss Amber, your host. This week, we're going to be talking about planning hands-on curriculum for preschool class or homeschool. I've been getting this topic asked a lot of me. I've been doing some other podcasts, and a lot of people are asking, how do I know what to plan? Especially if I'm a homeschool mom, like how do I know what my kids should be learning? So I just wanted to talk about hands-on curriculum this episode. If you are an early childhood educator, if you're a director at a school, if you're a teacher, if you are a homeschool parent and not sure what to do with your kids, let's just kind of dive in a little bit. Let's first understand what hands-on learning means. Like, what are you talking about? You might be like, what the heck are you talking about? There's so many different philosophies in early childhood education, right? There's different choices. If you're choosing to send your child to a preschool, there's so many different ways of learning. My personal philosophy is that every child is different and every child is unique, and we should celebrate that. And just like you and I learn differently, so do our children. So one school that worked for one of your kids may not work for another. And I've talked about this before in different episodes. So I feel like hands-on learning is so critical in the classroom because one child may learn visually, one may learn better with music, one may learn with tactile learning. So if you're an educator in a preschool class, or if you are a parent homeschooling your kids, I want to encourage you to really think on a wide scope of hands-on learning and activities. So it's really age appropriate and engaged learning that keeps your children's attention. So with the philosophies, different philosophies, so like Montessori is just very different from just play-based. So I truly believe that in a preschool classroom, we as educators, I think it is priority for us to be offering a wide range of curriculum. And so what I mean by that is different tactile projects. So you may do an open-ended art project. You may have a sensory bin available for those kids that learn tactilely, like they actually want to put their hands in water, and maybe it's Ocean Week and there's sharks and seals and different things. And you can be standing over the sensory bin and you can say, oh, well, how many sharks do you see? How many seals are there? That is active learning, and that may work for some children. Now, some children, curriculum looks more like they want to sit down and they want to do like a worksheet. They want to trace, they want to color, they actually want to like sit down and work like pen to paper. That's hands-on curriculum. You have some that need to be in the block area or just in the trains, and they just want to build. They want to make a giant tower. They need that. And that's another way to learn. How many blocks did you stack? How many trains are stuck together? What color are your blocks? So it's really curriculum and teaching is active learning all the times, but really providing a very tactile curriculum. Like I truly believe like music should be playing in a classroom for those that love music. And the songs could be like, if you're trying to teach Spanish, they can be like the colors in Spanish, or there's learning songs, but have songs going on in the background for those that learn with music. You need to identify your learning objectives. So for any curriculum, what are your learning objectives? And then you can plan your curriculum around that. So for example, Loving Start Learning Centers, my centers we're a theme-based school. So every month we have a new theme. And every week we have letters in focus and a number in focus. So all of our projects tie into that theme and tie into the letters and numbers that are focused in that month. And so we plan everything around that, from our sensory to our circle time activities to art projects to science to cooking, all of it. And I think when you plan your schedule and plan a curriculum, it should have everything in that. You should have cooking, you should have science, you should have art, you should have music, you should have a language, you should have math. You should have such a wide range to meet every one of your students' needs and touch on every single way of learning. So you are meeting the needs of all of your students. If we just prepare things one way, we are not meeting the needs of all of our students because every child is different. So once you identify your learning objectives, you can plan everything around that in stages and with outcomes that you want for them. So like if your number is 10 that week, you really want to focus on counting to 10 that week. And counting to 10 can be through music. It can be art. Maybe you're putting 10 things on a piece of paper. It could be a ditto with the number 10 for those that like to color or trace. So you're hitting things in so many different ways to meet the needs of every child. And then we're going to choose activities and materials. So you're choosing, when you have your objectives, then you can choose your activities and your materials. You want to select your activities and your materials to go along with your objectives, right? So you start with a theme, you start with your numbers, and then it trickles down from there. Okay, this is my theme for the month. I really want to teach them how to count from 1 to 15. I want to practice letters A, B, C, D, and E. And we're going to talk about oceans. I don't know, I'm just throwing that out there. Once you have those dialed in, everything else can trickle down. You want to select activities that are age appropriate. Obviously, if you're teaching 2-year-olds, they are not going to learn they don't know how to write. They are not going to really be able to have the small motor skills to hold pens and markers, but you can start introducing that to them. They can have a coloring sheet. They can be using scissors with Play-Doh as basic learning of scissor skills. The little plastic knives in Play-Doh, and paint with a paintbrush. All of that is learning and getting to the next stages that is age appropriate. You also want to design lesson plans. Lesson plans is huge because if you're just flying into your classroom with nothing planned, then I'm sorry, you're a babysitter. And I know that might sound harsh. As early childhood educators, we want to be recognized as early childhood educators. And I don't want to be recognized as a babysitter. But if you're rolling in with nothing planned, no curriculum, no lesson plan, no objectives, and you're just letting your kids play, whether you're in a home daycare, or you're a preschool teacher, you're a homeschooler, play is great. Play is important. I think play is vital in our kids. But I think if we want to educate and if we want the title of educators, it's really good to have lesson plans and objectives. Kids are so smart. They're little sponges. They soak up everything. And it's cool to throw them things because they can handle it in a fun, loving, kind, and in a way where they can feel successful. So really write it down, put it on a lesson plan. And I'm going to do a plug here. I'm doing this one too, because guess what? I know how much time you spend planning your curriculum. I know how much time you are on Pinterest. And if you're a homeschool parent, if you're a preschool educator, you are spending so much time designing your curriculum, designing activities, looking for activities to go along with your objectives. I understand that. And guess what? we have got something called the curriculum community. We have created it, and I'm so excited about it because there is Miss Shauna and Miss Shauna has been creating the curriculum. It is amazing. It is everything you need for an entire month. And every month, the theme changes. So literally, you can go into the curriculum community and you can click on a monthly calendar. If you are working at a school, you know how much time it is to take all your projects, you lesson plan it, then you have to maybe come up with a calendar, you have to post your curriculum, or you have to turn your curriculum into directors. It's a click of a button. You click a calendar and the entire month is done with you. And then there's segments. We've got worksheets, we've got projects, we've got circle time books, we've got sensory bin ideas, cooking projects, science, language, art, and math. Everything is there. It will save you so much time and thinking. It's all there and it's there. We're lowering the price to $8.99 a month. Your first month is free for the price of a coffee, of a latte. And I know how expensive it can get with this syrup and oat milk and almond milk. It's $8.99 a month. It will save you hours of time. And we have got together almost 60 years in this of planning curriculum is there. And it has everything for you. And you can manipulate things or change things. So it's really from like 18 months through kindergarten, you can use this stuff because if you are working with your TK class, they can cut everything out. If you're working with your twos, you might cut things out for them. So you can change things in different ways for the right age appropriate. But designing lesson plans is crucial. And what are your outcomes? And if we want to be true educators and we're true teachers, we want our kids to thrive. We want our students to learn things, but in a way where they feel successful, they feel excited, because our job as whether you're a homeschool parent or you are working at a school, our job as educators is to have our students, to have our children have a love of learning. And learning can happen outside and in play and through Play-Doh and sand and shaving cream and through worksheets, through all of it. Through music. Music is a huge one. It's so important, but it's so important to provide our kids with a well-rounded curriculum that they can shine in, because you are acknowledging and learning the way they learn. And when you're a preschool educator in a classroom, you have maybe 20 students. So each one of your students is going to learn so differently than the other. And so if you just put down a worksheet, well, that worksheet is not going to work for everybody. But if you have your music, if you have dancing, if you have books, if you have tons of outside time, if you have sensory bins and shaving cream and paint and art and science and cooking, you are going to be hitting all the boxes, and your students are going to thrive in your very enriching, age-appropriate, hands-on curriculum. So I think it's just so important. And even through your transitions, I mean, even from going to the bathroom time, singing is such an important part of a preschool experience. And kids learn so much. Actually, we all do, right? If you hear a song over and over, like there's certain commercials or songs, like we just know. Safe Flight, I think it's like something Safe Flight. I don't know. But music is really important. And I think that should be, if you're even a homeschool parent, have music on and there's so many great learning songs, have music on in the background. But learning and your curriculum should be so wide, and it should be so fun and so hands-on, so interactive, because when they get to elementary school, when they get to junior high, I'm sorry, it's going to get super boring. And our kids get put into a very specific box, and it's very unfair. So it's a beautiful thing to be an early childhood educator, because we have so much more freedom to let kids be kids and let them get messy. A garden is a huge thing to throw into your curriculum, and it's science-based. And, they get to acknowledge if you're growing vegetables at your school, they get to be introduced to vegetables and learn to love it. So really think outside the box with your curriculum and really understand that every child, just like you and I, we learn differently. And so providing a very vast, hands-on, engaging, age-appropriate curriculum is huge. And create your lesson plans. Have objectives. Where do you want your students to learn that month? And if you're like, I'm so exhausted from planning curriculum, or if you're a homeschool parent and you're not sure what to be teaching, I would encourage you to check out our curriculum community. Honestly, it is extraordinary and it is amazing. And it's going to save you time. And we've done all the work for you. And we have our theme, and we have the science, we have the language, we have the math, we have downloadable worksheets, we have the books that you could be reading, we have circle time activities. It is extraordinary. We have the master calendar. You don't have to write anything down. You just follow it. You can post it in your classroom. It's extraordinary and it's amazing. And I hope this helps, but I just encourage you to have a wide range of fun, hands-on. And remember, these littles are only little ones. We want their preschool experience, their preschool learning to be magical. We want them to feel like they're thriving and not failing. We want them to not feel like they're in any box. We want to offer such a wide range that everybody is having fun. And our ultimate goal is for them to be kids and just have a love for learning that will last them a lifetime. Thank you for joining me today on the ABCs of Preschool. I'm your host, Miss Amber. Please go visit the website, thelovingstartway.com. Click on our curriculum community. It is going to change your life because it's going to save you so much time. And I honor all our educators because I know how much time you put into your classroom and prepping. So let us help you. Thanks for listening. I appreciate you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to hear this podcast. Make sure to hit the subscribe button so you won't miss the next episode. For more information on how to work with me, Miss Amber, visit me at thelovingstartway.com or follow me on Insta at thelovingstartway.